Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Chris G here, and just talking over very quickly my speedy start to painting this lovely badger. The first few stages always are a little bit boring, I know. So I just thought, well, let's speed it up. Then you can see what I've done. I've added colours in. I've added movement in on those first few layers. I really am happy with that. I've not touched the white areas, but it does need touching. And really, it's not completely white. I mean, at the end of the day, the badger digs around the soil. So I'm just making kind of off-white, and I'm going to fill that area in. First layer, there's definitely movement in there. I like the way that it's actually encroached into that area. It's quite pretty, actually. It'll get moved afterwards, but never mind. I really don't want any of this paper to be left just as paper, because that's when you get the ruckling, when you've got white showing through. So I've done that quite roughly, actually. I've not been particularly perfect with it. I'm just going to try and get some of this off-white in now. Feed some colours in that, but it's too wet, actually. It's just going to blend, so there's no point trying to do too much with it this wet. Just pushing that out a little bit. There's quite a harsh line there, and the fur will go out into it, so I'll just soften that up now and create the same there, actually. Let's get rid of that harsh line there. Just softening those lines. It will help for because there's going to be hairs that go up into that background area. Get the preparation work done now. I'm going to start with this little guy's eyes, because I do like to get the eyes in. I like to see how they're doing. You can get a bit of interest in there. I'm supposed to leave a little dot on his eye, and I've kind of managed to go over it already. Let's just take that out. Start again. That's the beauty with the watercolour. You can actually lift it off and redo. Don't want them too heavy, otherwise we'll get them too flat. I'm just going to keep bobbing back into these eyes for a few stages, because I just think it needs stages. If you go in all too quick, especially when they're all dark, you could get a very flat look. So we'll just keep coming back into for a little while. I used some gold in the background, and I think I've still got some on my plate, and every so often I keep getting a little bit more of it mixed in. It's not a drastic thing, but I might have to clean the plate a little bit shortly. Quite short hairs, actually, which is quite nice, really. Sometimes short hairs are easier. This bit here is quite dark, actually, but this here is lighter. When something is black and white, there's so much more to it, really, than black and white. How the light reflects gives us different colours. I don't use black ever, it's always Payne's grey. I'll probably say that on every single video, but that's how it is. I think at some point I'm going to have to go and just boil some water and wash this brush. Well, it's got a bit of paint right down here, because it's kind of lost its flatness. Very disappointing, because I can't lose this one. I love it. Put some boiling soapy water normally gets that out, but there is a bit in the heel here, and that's why it's splaying too much. Anyway, badger. As you know, I'm going to always do this, and that's the whole idea of these cards. Anyway, it's affirmation cards that we end up with, and the badger represents persistence, determination. They don't back down, and they remind us to push forward with relentless focus. So, actually, if anyone has ever had badgers in the garden, I know a friend had, and their persistence is, if you decide to feed them and you forget one day, they will go and wreck the area that you normally feed them in. It wrecked it. She had one that wrecked the patio. All her pots were all upturned because it was looking for its food and there was none. So yeah, they are pretty persistent. I think where we're concerned, I think persistence isn't totally right. I think determination that we're going to get through what we're going through is fine. Beyond the first year, the second year is still tough. I've found this year, which is going... Well, it is, in effect, he died 4 years last September, so it's like almost the 5th year. But do you know what's happened? Because I feel a little stronger and I got through things, I then had an overwhelming guilt. And the guilt kind of knocked me. And it's not that you're leaving behind. It's just that I've built so many layers around so many layers around the grief that it softened it. It's a bit like doing this painter. You just keep building the layers and protecting yourself, but the grief's still there. The grief, the loss is still there. But yeah, because I didn't get upset over the Christmas period, it really threw me, made me feel guilty. Madness, isn't it? So it depends where you are on your grief. But have you felt that? Have you felt a sense of, at some point, a sense of guilt for maybe even smiling, laughing, enjoying a moment, all these things? And of course we're allowed to. But then for some reason the guilt comes in. You do think, when will this actually get any easier? I haven't got an answer for that one completely. Sorry. It's all different journeys, isn't it? We all cope in different ways, but it keeps hitting in different ways as well. That's the problem. I just want to get some of this area of hairs in. Just draw down seeing that one. The light is so appalling today. It's absolutely tipping it down again today, which makes it very artificial darkness inside. Let's keep building those layers. I mix a smaller amount of colours as I go. I'm mixing purples because I like the purple and it stops the blacks being too flat. I never use black from a tube. And there's quite a bit of light around here, so I don't want to overly cover that underneath colour. I spend ages sometimes trying to split the hairs on it apart, and today they're automatically doing it, but it's not a healthy sign for the brush. Just let all that dry fully before I go any further in there. So I'm just going to go on to this bit that really is quite dark. It's almost an area where you can't see the hairs at all, to be honest. So it is a nice low just to get that depth in. Again, another area that's very dark is here. So we'll just get some of those in. I don't want to go in too heavy because it kind of looks a bit blocky if you do that. So how are you feeling on your journey today? Is the grief easing, or do you have longer periods before it? Just the dull ache. I think the dull ache is always there. I don't think that's, apparently, from speaking with people at different stages and knowing. I think that's always with us now forever. We promised to love them till death does us part. Well, okay, so they died, and that some people would take as the death that parted us, but I kind of don't think I'll stop loving Rob until forever, till I die. But then, hopefully then I'm back with him. Do you believe that too, that we're back with them? Gosh, I hope so. It's what keeps me going. This bit here is his leg. I'll just call it his arm then. It really is his arm, isn't it? So I'm just trying to portray that angle, so it kind of comes round and round here. I'm not going to really aim at doing anything else to the background. I wanted it to be representative of a dark evening. It's a bit shiny, it's a bit blue, dark blue. So I don't think I have been known to go in and change the whole lot. If you've watched any of my other ones, my earlier ones, there was a hair on another deck, and let's get one on deck too. Anyway, yeah, somebody decided right towards the end that I didn't like the background and did the whole thing again. We have the log here that he's actually on, so I need to make that quite clear there. Around his face here, that is quite distinctive under here, that's dark. And I'll just set off that the edge of his face there a lot clearer. Just get a little bit darker in those eyes now as well. Let's just get some movement in here. See, now the splayed little bit of brush actually is really helping there because it's getting that fluffy bit at the end. Just keep that fur coming. Follow your reference picture if you've got one. And say if you want reference pictures for animals, And you're on Facebook, there are free reference groups where you can pick them up and use them to make your paintings. If I can, I take my own as well. I've not really seen a badger. Some animals I actually really enjoy painting for the freedom of the flow of the fur and everything. And I have to say this one actually is really quite enjoyable because you're getting that lots of movement in it. Just tilt that a little bit. It's quite awkward sometimes if you tilt too much because you lose which way you're going, but you need to be able to see as well. So these brown bits are up here. I am going probably slightly wilder on the hairs than they are, but I just think it gives a character at the end. I like my artwork to put a smile on people's faces. Right, kind of want to go on here. Just varying those different shades of the brownie colours to get detail in here as well. So I went through that white, didn't I? Didn't think that, of course I'll need lots of white. It's got white stripes, hasn't it? Put it on a bit thick there, so it's got a bit of a texture to it, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that could work quite nicely, to be honest. I'll tell you how we have a go at this, because it really is quite fun, actually. You might find you do something different that helps you control the mind monkeys, because that's why I paint. It controls mind monkeys. And so what is it? What do you do? Leave it in the comments. What helps you control the mind monkeys? Mine actually attack me most in the evenings. You know, that quietness, end of the day. Sometimes as it gets past a certain times while you don't feel you can maybe reach out to people, so you just suffer. And if you're anything like me, I'm a bit of a night owl. I can't sleep early, so I'm up. So painting is my go-to. What's your go-to? To let you into a little secret here. I didn't think this white was going to work as well as it is doing, okay? I am actually, because I didn't want it doesn't want to be stark. It's just that some of the black has got the sunshine on it. Oh, it's not sunshine, it's actually moonlight. It's out in the dark, isn't it? But actually I'm quite happy with that. There's a black area here, and because of the build down, the black has to go next before I do this white on it, which is, yeah, we need to do that. I like these little jam jars. I clap them. They're great for doing water like this as I spill it. So you can change around without actually getting up and going to the sink all the time. That makes me sound very lazy, doesn't it? This bit here now needs to be the darker bit. If that dries, I'll just put some different colours around as well. Always painting in that direction of the fur. There's not a lot of shadows in this one to make it 3D'd, so this direction is very, very important. You can just mix your own dark colour that's almost black and make a good deep colour with interest, which is important. It's almost like a bit of a wash that actually joining some of those together, isn't it? It's gone a little bit too much here. We'll go dark afterwards. I have to say this little character is behaving far better than the orangutan that I did last week. If you've not seen that one, there's in the playlist with these is the orangutan. Cool, that was a challenge. See, that's gone quite a grey now, quite grey brown, which is just a lovely shade that I wanted to go in through these. Like that background there, a little bit uneven actually. I'll probably make it worse rather than better actually if I'm not careful, but just see if I can just add a little bit of colour in. I do things like this and then go, why did you mess? Anyway, now we're going to have to let that dry because I shouldn't have messed. Okay, let's do the same colour. You need to build on layers that are not be the same. It really is just being very gentle with different colours, especially in this white now. You need to get areas in to show the direction of the fur. I went to wash my brush and I made myself a mocha coffee because, you know, sometimes in the winter the weather really, in the end, when it's just wet, when you get some sunshine and a bit of crispy days of, it's so much better, and it's better for your soul, isn't it, when it's got sunshine. And at some point today, I'm supposed to pop down to my workshop to just take a couple of photos, a couple of bits that I need to get sorted. And the weather is just, well, it's now drawing in even worse. It just looks awful out there. So I thought, right, carry on, don't break off now and go and do it and come back to your artwork. So I've made mocha coffee to brighten me up, to cheer me up. Do you have favourite things that cheer you up? Actually, I know some people they eat them for comfort during grief and put weight on. I actually did the reverse. Still don't eat as much as I used to, and hence I've lost weight rather than put weight on. But I do like a treat, like a mocha coffee. So yeah, let me know what's your go-to to just lift you up when things are getting a tad too hard with it all. Because there are days like that, aren't there? There are days when it is harder than other days. I thought I'd just change my brush a little bit and just vary the texture of the brush, because it does add interest to the picture if it's not always the same. Be just a little careful here, because I don't want to go onto his white nose, do I? Or his creamy coloured nose it is at the moment. Sometimes if you just put it a little bit weaker and just do a glaze, it just brings all that together without losing the strokes underneath. How's that looking? Is that looking a little bit better? Sometimes the white can be a little bit too stark amongst there, but we needed those lighter areas. So we'll just knock it back a little bit, and then you've still got the lightness going through it, but you've just got, because you're back to the fact that he is black with purple highlights and blue highlights, which of course, if you've ever seen a badger in real life, you know that that's honest and truthful. So I've just washed that brush in hot water. I reckon it's not going to come back. It's done it. It's just split it all again. Well, I'll do it again tonight. The other thing you can do, if you've got a problem with your brush like that, is put some soap on it, wash it with hot water again, boiling water, soapy water, and then leave some soap on it and form it into how you want it, and leave it for a couple of days to set hard, and then hopefully it'll come back. Right, these ones here we can now just drag down a little bit. A really light version. So this bit actually is probably the easiest bit that's just all in one direction. Everywhere else has got different directions, but this one's quite smooth. This bit, I think we lost some of the really dark ones, didn't we? Because I went too similar. I actually let it blend rather than actually give it time to dry. So when you're doing these finer ones, don't overdo it. You're better letting it dry, coming back numerous times rather than trying to rush it. Might actually put a little bit of pen work into the tops there. So I'm going to just try and concentrate a little bit on getting all the whites now in place and sorted. So I think I kind of just mix some white with a bit of the browny colours, which just really gives the off-white. I'm just going to go and try and get a few crazy ones out there. So as I'm moving on with this one, it's now a Friday. And to be honest, I have had a nice time out with a friend, which is something that I don't always get to do, is have a day out, all day out, with a friend, which has been lovely. And I just thought, I sat here thinking, oh, do I finish this artwork now, or do I leave it to Saturday? Should be really edited on Saturday, by the way. And then I suddenly remembered that another friend has a craft event tomorrow. I thought, you know what? I am going to go and see her. She doesn't know, obviously, because weekends are so hard. I do think that, it is one of the most difficult times because most people are out with family, doing things with family. Oh, I don't know what that is, and it can be one of the most loneliest times. So I've just told myself I can do that for a change. I did a disaster one last weekend. So how do you find weekends? And when they're the worst days, how do you occupy yourself during that time? Because the more you occupy it, the easier it is. So what do you do to occupy yourself? Leave a message in the comments or just journal it down. Have a think about that, because sometimes we have to work that one out so we don't end up in the situation of being on our own and feeling 10 times worse for it. Which I did last week, by the way. So don't believe that I've got it sussed, because I haven't got it sussed. In a way, I'm almost filling in some of the gaps. You can't get so many loose lines in, but then you need to join some of those together. Just some of these lines down here are facing the opposite way, because that's building that arc of the nose area up. I like to get a little bit stronger on the white rather than the yellowy colour in it. Just try and get some of this a few wilder little pieces going out here. It's going to take probably a couple of coats to get this strong enough. Same with the ear, we need a bit of tuftiness in there, don't we? It's gone a tad grey, but that's fine. We're starting it off, and we'll add a little bit more to it in a minute. By getting it different every time you go in with a layer, it makes an effect. If they were always the same, it just end up the same colour in the end, rather than shades of different ones. I never did do anything with my brush overnight, which I was meant to. And I have to say, look at the state of it. It's come well apart, and the bristles are all over. But right now, that's an advantage. Maybe because all those little lines are all varied. So I'm just putting a bit of a glaze on just to pull those colours together, but still leaving that movement underneath. So when I'm glazing, I'm just flattening that brush over it more. So we're not losing the lines underneath because it's too thin to do that. It'll just pull the colours together. I make wood up as I go along. I just like to get a bit of an effect in there, and actually I do like being a bit random with it, but normally I get there and it works. So the badger is a solitary creature. It urges us to trust our own instincts. And you know, the more I looked at this background, the more I just decided, okay, so I wanted it to be moonlighty, I wanted it to be dark, but you know, if we're looking in here, there is going to be greenery in the background. And I think I just wanted to just introduce that round before I go further. And this is sometimes when you stand back, you look at your art and you go, if you're not happy, change it, and now's the time. And that's where I was just trusting whatever my gut was saying, and I'm just missing a whole lot of blue, green. I'm trying to get the green a little bit dark, and I'm just really just feeding it in there. It's going to go a little bit lighter, so I'm sure it'll be fine in the end. It's giving the impression of bushes in the greenery in the background, shrubbery. I've just done those hairs going into that outside, but you know, it doesn't matter, they can be redone. Never be afraid to change things. If things aren't going to plan, and it doesn't really matter in life, does it? You know, we know not everything goes to plan. And on this journey of being on our own, we're learning so many new things, and not everything goes to plan. I found that over the last 4 years, and sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and say, well, I need to change direction, or I need to do something slightly different to pull my life together if I'm going to survive on my own. And that's what we're doing, surviving. Eventually, I hope that my life gets easier and stronger, and I'll never be without Rob. He's embedded in my heart for life. So no matter what I do, I'm doing it with him. I think that's what gives me strength. And you know, over the years we've run our business, bless him, he really did support me in everything I did. You know, even if this plan or whatever I suggested sounded a tad on the crazy side, he was always there going, yeah, let's give it a go, let's do it and see how it goes. Now, I actually think that is a nice background. It's got a bit of light. I'm working, honestly, I am working in artificial light now because it's evening. But I feel as I've done that all the way through on this one, which doesn't help when you're doing filming. Right, so I'm going to dry that off. I'll just get the hairdryer. I gave it a quick dry. I managed to touch a bit that was not quite dry with my finger, thinking how it was, and regretted it. But, you know, that's sometimes what happens. I'm just going to just give that little bit of water, a little bit of an extra, darken it up actually, because I just think it's kind of a bit too bright. And I'm just going to introduce a bit of that green in there. Alright, so I'm just going to go straight in with the eyes, I think, because that's always the good clarity with the eyes. Okay, so I just want to get in some of these white areas. So these ones, if you're doing this with paint opposed to pen, it will be a few layers, but persevere, it's fine. That's what art's about. And don't overdo one area. It's very easy to think, oh yeah, I'll just add a few more. And then all you do is blend them. So then you've lost it. So you must do so many, move to another area while it dries, and come back. On this side, we've not really brought those hairs out, have we? This is when it starts coming alive a little bit. You know, there's a bit of pen work already started in there. There's, instead of it being a strip of this and a strip of black, as you get these to join together, it actually is bringing the character of the badger alive. And it is with any animal. And, you know, you can't get that at the beginning of the art, where you've just got to be patient, get all those foundation layers in. So when you come to this end bit, it has the effect straight away. Great, actually. Let's just put a bit more white on there. This is a Winsor & Newton Chinese. It's the Coatman one, which is it's not quite the professional. The professional's very expensive. This is the one down, which is like the artist, I would say. I actually quite like these. I thinking something else. I did a bit of a comparison between using an acrylic and this one, and was surprised that this is actually stronger than I imagined, and it actually is working quite well. Not a quick process though. It really is a keep going at it, and you'll be happy if you, with a little bit of patience and giving it the time to just build up. And you know, in working through grief, every stage we have to give it patience and give ourselves a chance to grow and to survive that stage, because every stage is a chapter, and there's no saying, oh, you must do it in this order, or people do it in this order. There isn't an order. Believe me, you just do it as you do it. The one thing is you don't give up on yourself. I think that's so important, is to trust in the end. We get stronger. The grief, we just put layers around it and protect it, or protect ourselves. I don't know which way around you want to call that. Yeah, now I've got those eyes better. It really does feel like I'm working properly on something that's alive. Some people don't put eyes until right at the very end, but I think I just feel that I need to be able to see and feel the animal that I'm working on. As I've been working on this one, I took some time out yesterday because, quite sadly, my daughter's dog died, and he wasn't really very old for a little dog. He was really poorly, and it was very sad. It was horrendously sad, actually. So yeah, I had a little bit of time to absorb that, because he was quite a character in the family, and my grandsons are happy that he'll go and have Rob in heaven to look after him, take the dog for a walk. I've kind of gone really all the way around the outsides. I've not really done in the middle, which still needs a little bit of putting together. I do think I need to get that bit there a little bit whiter. So the words for this affirmation card, I'm toying around a few, if I'm honest. Hence why I'm kind of leaving it longer and longer before I actually tell you. It might be one of those that I sort of have a choice, and when I have a choice, quite often I listen to the video back as I'm editing, and I suddenly go, oh, it's that one, because that's relevant. So I think that might be the case with this one, that I changed my mind, but we'll see. Anyway, so it could be, I keep going, even when it's hard. But then it could be, I don't give up on myself. There was another one that I've already faced so much, but I don't think I really want that one now. So somewhere, as I edit these videos, I'll probably make that decision, which one, for certain. But just because I say one thing, it doesn't mean to say the others aren't relevant. It is important we don't give up on ourselves. And I know there's points where it gets so flipping tough that, you know, sometimes you'd like to just say, I've had enough. You know, if I want to go and join them. Fortunately, that's not always possible. We have to just forge a way through. I just wanted to just add a little bit more interest into his nose. It wasn't quite sitting right. I think because he nuzzles into all that undergrowth and green, I think so having some of those colours in there is quite appropriate. It's kind of giving a bit of a shadow area and something there, actually. Covered him up a bit, actually, haven't I? I guess just taking a little bit of the stark whiteness out with the colour that blends around. It's not introducing another colour, it's just bringing it all together. It's making him a bit grubby. But I think he would be a bit grubby. He's just been looking for his lunch, okay? Oh, I don't know what's going on there. I'm lifting up a bit there. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm just going to leave that to dry and then I'll come back to mending it. Hi, well I hope you liked painting the badger and the wording, I don't give up on myself, because it's so important that we don't. It's a tough journey sometimes, and you know, even here, me going into the 5 years without him, and it still has its tough moments. Yeah, sometimes I don't cry the same, thank goodness, that's a lot of tears we get rid of. So yeah, it's a tough journey, so don't give up on yourself. If you have enjoyed it, if you like my videos, please do like and subscribe. If you do want me to paint a certain animal, give me a shout, just let me know, drop a comment. I'll always give it a go. See you next week.